At the hotel.
Church is on the move.
Getting motel.
You dig?
Treating me like
I pen my pen. Do cold Michigan nice.
at the hotel.
And the bitch not once didn't freeze.
Treating
Working
me
the wrist
like
with ease.
I'm
I'm what that bitch need. You understand?
At the hotel.
I pen my pen through the storm.
I'd like to welcome you to the world's motherfucking greatest podcast, Emmy.
World. What's good, Aki?
It's good vibes, good vibes. We have a good friend. I won't say that because, appropriation. But we got a good friend of the show, a long time guest. You've probably seen him multiple times here, heard his voice. Owner, CEO of Status Gang.
At least once a year we got the good man.
At least once a year. Owner, like I said, CEO of Status Gang. A worker in the architectural world on the spare time. He's just a really good guy. Community man, all that good stuff.
Family businessman.
All of that. Make some noise for Gutter Gay.
Let's go. That was a hell of an intro.
I'm trying. But how you doing, Gabe? Like you said, once a year we like to just kind of check in, kick it with you. You show us a lot of love and support, and I really appreciate that. Like a lot of people want to be in competition, and you don't do that. You support, and I really fuck with you. Appreciate that.
Stem the first person to show love when we decided to.
Invite us to your pop-ups,
Stamp, do
all
merch
that
and
type
all
of
that.
stuff. Help us. So I really
Nah, for
appreciate
sure.
that, bro.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, good niggas for real. And about their business. So that's two things that always gonna work with me. For
Yeah,
real.
I like that. I like that energy. I think the people know you well enough. So let's talk about what's going on with you now. How's life kicking it? What's going on with the status, latest drops, all that good stuff?
Nah, I mean, this year has allowed me to do a lot, with status, with, work from home. Just got me a lot more time with my family and stuff. So I've been, hella focused the whole year, for real. The beginning of the year, I was thinking, because I had to go out of the country for work. So I'm thinking,
Where you
damn,
end up going?
I went to Colombia, Bogota.
Wow.
But I was, with that start to the year, you thinking damn, this year I'm about to be all over and shit. But COVID came 3 weeks after that shit. So that shit, stopped every plan I had, you know what I'm saying? From a exploration aspect of it. But as far as sitting down and having time to really think about everything I'm doing and really develop shit, it's been a hell of a year. So I had I've been dropping a lot of different stuff. I got a few projects I'm just working on too.
As far as
to drop
music?
Nah, not music, but
I'm just saying, Gabe. That's what I'm saying. Gabe is sneaky with, sneaky jack of a lot of trades.
But not no music. I did put an old project we had on Apple Music and shit.
Okay.
Just to do it. Fuck
I got time.
Yeah. But now, so usually in November I do the Black Market Creative Showcase, but COVID and not wanting to deal with all of the fucking stress that would probably come from trying to plan something out, I'm launching a website that'll be the virtual version of it for real. So I'm planning to do that the same week I usually do it. So that what's today? The 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be later in the month and shit like that, week of Thanksgiving and shit. But that's one thing I've been working on that I'm trying to get on top of the status shit.
Okay, so you about to have a virtual market type jump. So it's just it's going hyperlinks to send niggas to the websites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
lit.
y'all on it,
Yeah.
and it's meant to be for people who've been a part of the stuff I've done.
Okay.
We collaborated in some way for real, and then at some point if niggas want to be on it, submit yourself, and then. But at now that's what the plan is to
Okay.
It's the 5th year, so try to do something for it.
Yeah, something unique. No,
and I'm launching I got some merch I was working on for that too, so That should be tight too.
You got
Little
more
commemorative.
ideas coming.
Yeah, bro. I've been like,
Hey,
that's what I'm saying. I got a lot of time right now.
My man got on a sweatsuit right now. That dropped probably not too long
You got the
ago.
windbreakers out here.
Yeah, he got
the
He got some
windbreakers.
work out here for y'all.
Yeah,
Status
for
Gang.
sure.
Check
Check
that
out
out.
Status
Make sure y'all
Gang,
check that out.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice the hat, and
Oh yeah.
I think it would be unwise of me not to sort of like talk about this in the the climate we in.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you feel like Status Gang and hats like that, and just some of your work in general, is able to kind of like speak and give a message during some of these times?
I think it's from what people be telling me. I think it's just like seeing that somebody consistently doing stuff, and a black young dude. You know what I'm saying? And I work a 9 to 5 plus do my business. People just been telling me that's inspiring for real. And like for me to digest it and like damn take a step back, I'm like that shit is crazy. For like, I mean, if you run a business and you do it too, like you working 9 to 5, niggas working shit, but to also have a business on top of it that you fully operate, like I feel like that's inspiring because when I see my niggas doing it, it inspired me for real. So like that's one thing that I've seen from my actions, people have said and shit, but just like trying to keep pushing for real. Tell niggas keep pushing. If you got ideas, man, go with that shit. No matter if you gotta do something else to fucking fund the idea for real. Just do that shit for real.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. What I like about you is that you're silent but you're effective, and I think what I mean by that is that
And
like
consistent.
yes, and consistent. That might even be even a better word. You don't really like make too much hoopla about anything. You're not too down. You're not too. You just.
Yeah.
I can always expect even care about you, but to that effect, you always care about people. And I'm not gonna speak to this exactly, but you know what I think I'm talking about. Like, you go out of your way to help people in certain situations and predicament, and I just wanted to shout you out, just awesome, because I just think that like a lot of people think they gotta do grand things,
Yeah.
and for a lot of times, to me, you seem like a guy who understands like I could just like do the little things, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you could speak to like what if that's like. If that's a big deal to you, or that's just like you just
I'm just doing my part, bro. Like if I'm investing in you, like I fuck with you, my friends, that's an investment to me. Like my family is an investment. Like my good man, like that's investments and shit. So if I got knowledge, and I want everybody to win, it's only right that I like
Pass it
whatever
on.
I got for real. Like if I got like an event and shit, I want to help niggas out. Like if I fuck with you and shit, if I don't, then get it on your own for real. It'll pay me for the shit. You know what I'm saying? But not, yeah.
What makes you like that? Because a lot of people will truly be about a dollar in every sense. You're very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
community. Like I said, to the point.
I guess just my upbringing, bro. Like that's just how my family is.
Speak about family. I feel like we talked about this with you
Yeah,
before.
that's like
but
every giant I go into.
But
for
I
sure.
just feel as though it's so important. Like I feel like someone said
That's
something.
that one thing that's missing, John, like nowadays,
Yeah.
bro. Like a lot of people don't have that, like, especially the way your
That core.
that core
Yeah.
family yours is. Like,
Nah,
you're
nah.
built on entrepreneurs, like, you know what I'm saying? Then,
The
like,
cousins, the
the
everything.
cousins,
Nah, it
like,
that's another
everybody.
giant. I had to step back to realize that and shit. Like this time really made me realize that shit. Like being with the fam and shit, and just like everybody in DC or wherever they at, you know what I'm saying? Actually having time to talk to niggas and shit. That's what made me realize, like, damn, this shit is different and shit. Niggas don't be having this for real.
No, y'all got
Yeah.
something really unique in the whole clan. Like I like to call y'all because it's not just your family. It seems
Yeah.
like you got your cousin, her
Yeah.
family, and then y'all all seem to come together, and always for a good cause. Like and not just your family. You seem to be community person. Like you seem to, it's Fifth Street. You know what I'm saying? Like that seems to be your people, and you really seem to care about that. Outside of family, because a lot of people have good families that are not.
Yeah, for sure.
What and Gabe, what do you think about you? Because I met you in Philly, and
Yeah,
it wasn't no family around, and you was
Nah,
still
for
mad
sure.
cool dude. I know upbringing is important,
Yeah,
but
nah.
it's something unique about you. In particular, what do you think that is?
I don't know this shit. I guess it's just in me, bro. Like that shit just happened.
I like it.
I really don't. feel like I go out of my way to do nothing for real. It just naturally happen and shit. So if like I could oops somebody some shit, it's not like I'm like looking for the play like I'm Russell Westbrook trying to get the triple double. I'm just doing it and shit. It's like natural.
Flow of the
for real.
game.
Yeah. So I mean that's really what that is. And then like my parents like that too. So it is like just how I was raised, seeing how they move and shit, and seeing how other people might not have moved, like dealing with them and shit. I'm like, all right, I need to be like this and shit. And it's just natural, bro. I don't really be trying to do the shit just happen for real.
I like. And listen,
Yeah.
we need more. Hey, we need more games in the world.
No, for sure.
Big facts. You brought up DC,
Yeah.
and you are DC proper. You know, real DC from the city.
Uptown.
For you, what does DC look like now? And do you miss the old DC?
Hey, I was just having this convo with somebody. Comparative, like from when I went to Temple, for instance, 2010, and then like every time I feel like every time I come home, it'd be something new. To now, how DC is like. If you move here now, you might not even know half the shit that happened for like as far as like the culture of DC and shit. So unless you really run into like people who from the area and shit, you wouldn't even know what's happening. It's like two different worlds for real. So it's just different. It's like totally different place for real.
For someone who travels in multiple worlds in DC, the 9 to 5, you know, kind of sector. I don't want to call your job corporate or anything, but you know,
It's cool, bro.
to an extent, you know, that world to living as a black man in DC.
And then being within the community and
These two different, these two different worlds. How do you think we bridge the gap? Because this is a thing to me. I think that we all live here. We all live in this country. To a certain extent, we all maybe consider ourselves Americans. And almost 70 million people voted for somebody, Donald Trump, who people think is a really bad person.
Right.
Or a person who's like leading the country in a bad way. So I'm curious for people who I think, because I wouldn't ask this to many people, but I'd ask it to you because you seem to be somebody who can actually maybe do this. How do you think we kind of bridge that gap of the two worlds, essentially?
That's a good ass question for real.
No, I'm just curious because
Nah,
you're
for
actually
sure.
from DC.
Nah,
Like,
And you do it.
I'm from
Yeah.
PG. Like,
Yeah.
like I knew white people, but not like in this.
Yeah,
Like,
nah,
whatever.
it's
Like,
in
it's
my like with like being in corporate America, like when all of the George Floyd shit happened and like the whole events just surrounded it happened with like in July and early in the year, my job and like a lot of corporate America places like made task force or like committees and shit to try to deal with it, and they actually my job included me in the joint. So like what I've been learning from that experience that could kind of translate to what we saying now is like people don't be knowing this shit, bro. Like so it's really having a conversation and shit, and like how y'all doing the podcast, like hearing niggas out or like hearing people out and shit, and just like fact checking them to the extent you know the shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a black male in America, so of course I know like the struggles that we go through. So that's the angle from my job that I come from. I'm like, it's a time commitment, but I guess I could help in this way and shit. But like same way for like bridging the gap between the people here in DC now and the people who proper DC for real, like having the conversations, like the shit they doing with don't mute go and shit, like putting it in their face, bro. Like some shit you can't talk around. Like you gotta just know what it is.
I like that.
and
It's some shit you can't talk
yeah,
about.
and I'm not like a person who I would even be like trying to. I don't really be giving a fuck what people be thinking about shit to an extent if it's like not with my family upbringing and shit. I don't be giving a fuck what people be thinking. That's how I carry work and a lot of shit for real. Cause I know you probably don't agree with a lot of shit I'm saying, or a lot of shit I probably stand for. But we work together. I know I'm gonna have to deal with you until I don't.
That's
Gotta
what I'm
deal
saying.
with you.
You seem like the perfect person to ask this question.
Yeah.
To me personally, because you seem to actually be able to maybe
Navigate.
understand and
Yeah.
navigate this in a way that other
Yeah,
people
it's
don't-
definitely an interesting question. I never even thought about it, so now I'm just processing it.
Yeah,
right now, you know what I'm
listen,
saying?
I live for that.
Nah.
Anyway, damn, I had some because you made me think too when you were talking about like the task force. It just made me like, and the conversation, that idea
Yeah,
of just talking.
So
'Cause,
like,
like,
with your
one
job
thing-
involving you
one
in that,
thing-
like, what did that come with?
Stress, like shit. Not, I mean, it helped.
The chuckle before was crazy.
Yeah. But nah, I mean, it's helpful. I feel like it's helping me grow as a person and shit. So that's how I'm taking it and shit. And then I'm like coming out of my comfort zone, talking to people who I wouldn't talk about race with white people, bro.
No,
Like
same.
that's just something I wouldn't be doing on the day to day anyway. But now I'm a part of this shit, so I gotta prepare myself to talk about shit and then know that they probably might say some bullshit and then like say my upbringing and like not tell them they wrong, but you are wrong and shit and say why it's wrong.
Explain
and
why.
shit, you
Like,
know what
what's
I'm saying?
actual facts?
Not
Yeah.
that you're wrong, but I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree, and that's
Yeah.
how I came up. So that's how I feel, and this is my experience and shit. And I had to do that. Like we had like a book talk and shit of a book and shit, and I had to actually read the book to understand to be able to discuss it with niggas and shit. So that shit taught me a lot. Like that was in these months of COVID and shit, cause we all working from home. So yeah, that taught me like you gotta have a conversation if you want.
To start,
Yeah,
you
to
can't start
have
anywhere.
shit happen.
Yeah.
You gotta have conversations.
You brought up one thing that just kind of really triggered me, or not triggered me, but piqued my interest.
Right.
You talked about how like you really don't really care about anything outside of like your family.
Yeah.
And I happen to know you a little bit, so I know you are of the faith of Islam,
Oh right. Yeah.
and our brother as well. So to me, I've been reading a lot about just like sort of Islamophobia and things of that nature, and just how it affects people, in particular black people, who, find themselves between religion and race, and all these things. For you, black Muslim, I don't know if you were born, but like your family has always, from
Yeah.
what I to know about you, how do you deal with just that in this climate? Because I never have really thought about the idea of how does a black person who believes in the Islam faith, how did they deal with 2011?
Yeah.
I never really thought about that until recently. So I just wonder for someone who has been part of the faith for a long time in your life, how that has worked for you.
Yeah, that's a good question too, bro. Stompers and shit. Nah, but
No, because that's the thing I asked that question
yeah,
recently.
yeah. How do I deal with
Just like, cause I'm big on the idea of interconnectedness. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you're not just black,
Yeah,
but you're
for
not
sure.
just a man of
Yeah,
Islam
yeah.
either. You're both of these things.
Yeah.
So how do you sometimes deal with like,
Well, technically, if I'm a man of Islam, I'm just a man of Islam. There's no race with that, but
but for fair, but let's just set that aside for
in
a
the
second.
worldly aspect,
In a world,
Yeah.
yes.
in the dunya aspect
Thank
of
you.
it.
How do you deal with that? Because it must be hard. Because I'm sure there's people even in the black community.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
come on, my guy. Like
yeah,
Niggas be thinking we
a
Trappist
predominantly
sinners or
Christian,
whatever, yeah.
censored group of people.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
you was born into it, brother.
yeah. I mean, niggas, people be ignorant to shit, bro, and you just gotta realize that's how people be sometimes and shit, and just like how you say, I'll stay even kill. I don't really let. Like if you say some bullshit, I take it. I might be like, all right, that's now I know where you stand there with the shit for real. And like as far, I mean, it be niggas say dumb shit about everything. Like a lot of shit, bro. Like Islam, Africa and shit. My father's Liberian, so like niggas might make a joke and shit, like, but they don't know I'm like Liberian too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of shit that niggas might say silly ass shit about, just misinformed stuff. But it's like I'm like, now I know where you stand, and I know how to like engage with you on whatever you saying for real. Or like I know how to carry the conversation. Like, all right, you on some bullshit. I don't even gotta talk to you no more for real. Or like you willing to learn and shit, then I mean, I'm not trying to teach you and shit, but I might talk to you and you might learn something. Just like
Nah, for sure.
I could talk to y'all and I learn something and shit.
Yeah,
so,
vice versa.
yeah.
Bro, we need more Gabe in the world. Like, I
As a
can't
Muslim,
stress this enough.
You're supposed to be Muslim in action, not in speech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm supposed to act like a proper Muslim in order for you to question, like, seek interest, or for me to, like, in order, like, just to do the right things. Like,
I don't know if this is a compliment to Gabe, but what I will say is that no matter what I've known about Gabe, I've never ever been like, he's anything. And I don't know if that's like a bad or good thing, but like, and when I find out, I'm like, okay. Because I think this goes back to my thing of identity. He doesn't allow, and once again, this is me speaking, I don't know.
Yeah,
Please
nah.
tell me if I'm wrong. You don't allow for certain things to, so he's not like, I'm a
Identify
Muslim.
you. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
from DC. I'm
for
the
sure.
He's gay. And these things are all part of him.
Yeah.
And personally,
Don't
as a
deny it.
revert, you know what I'm saying? Like, I told Gabe this personally, like, as a revert, I was just like, nah, bro, like, as a Muslim, like, you're stamping somebody I look up to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like,
High praise.
yeah.
Yeah, nah, for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, he's humble. You know what I'm saying? He just
That's
does
what
the
I'm
work.
saying, and
you know
that's-
what I'm saying? He continues just like, and as a Muslim, he does the right things to me. You know what I'm saying?
And that would be my thing to me personally. Like, there's a lot of people in other faith groups who love to tell people that, in particular, the one I belong to, Christianity, where I don't do X, Y, and Z.
Right. 'cause-
Look at me. And to me, like, I know different Muslims who maybe don't do quote unquote things of the
The face.
faith or Quran, whatever, however you want to slice it.
The sunnah.
But they're not, in my opinion, bad people by any sense. And I also know a lot of people who quote unquote do, they don't eat, they don't, they pray the five, they
Yeah.
don't take the drug, but then they cheat on their wives. They do other things. They cheat their brothers. So to me, I'm not here to pass judgment, and I ultimately feel like that's what Gabe does the best. And I just got to shout because, like I said,
Nah,
we're
that's
living in tumultuous
right.
times where we can't even get people to agree on like basic
Nah,
shit.
yeah.
And that's like people followers of monotheistic religions. It's just like the rules of my religion and rules of your religion aren't too far off. It pretty much they're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Gabe, to me, like, embodies that idea that, like,
Yeah.
look, man, you do you, and I'm going to respect it.
For sure.
Yeah, and then, I
As a
mean,
mother, I'm not supposed
that's
to judge
what-
you, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that's Allah's job. Like,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to leave that to him. Like, that's not, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's
nah,
just
that's, you saying.
yeah, like, that's
Yes,
Allah's
yeah.
job, bro. Like, I'm here to, in this dunya, I'm here to serve him. And, like, the only person I'm supposed to, like, worry about is him. Like, the punishments and the forgiveness and the apology seeking I'm supposed to do is for Allah. You know what I'm saying? It's the only person I'm supposed to fear and bow to. Period.
That's real shit. Gabe, I want to finish with a few, well, maybe one or two more things.
Yeah, for sure.
One, you are too cool for school, but you, like, you seem to have a sense of, like aura around you. Like, for someone who doesn't really, like, you said, I think you said it, like, I had to come out of my box.
Yeah.
But it's weird to me because I feel as though, like, at Temple, from what I know about, like, the people who you went to high school with, everyone knows Gabe.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
No,
Like,
it's-
you know what I'm
no,
saying?
it's
Yeah.
one thing.
But it's,
No,
I mean,
it's one
it's,
thing about Gabe, bro. It's just like you go into Gabe's world. Gabe
Yeah.
doesn't enter
Yeah.
your world,
But that's what I'm saying. How does that aura?
and that's vicious.
That's coming out of, like, all right, for instance, when I went to Temple, like, I went with my men, so it's not like I had to go outside of my friends to really meet other people and shit. Like,
Good point.
if I got a good man, it's just because I fucked with you and shit. But, like, initially when we went to Temple, it was like, niggas like, what the fuck are y'all saying? Because, it's different when you talking to a nigga from here compared to, like, talking to other people. They just don't understand it and shit.
Yo,
So, I've had people say this to me, like, now you talk, like, way, like, they can understand it more, because it wasn't because I was trying to do the shit. It's just, like, you can't understand me. I got to say it clearer or however
You just talk.
it could get to you and shit. So, that's how, like, I grew from Temple and shit. But, like, as an adult, like, now, I'm living life and shit. I know I got to deal with different races or whatever just to live my life and shit, because I wish I could work with all black people, but it don't work like that, especially not in the fucking field I'm in and shit. There's very little black people in the field that I'm in.
That's real shit.
So I gotta just learn how to talk to them and shit. And initially, when I got to my job, I wasn't doing that and shit. They like, why you so quiet? I talk when I have something to say and I know about what I'm talking about. And then other than that, I'm listening and shit. So it took me time to like, it take time when you like in the environment where you're not comfortable for me to even be like, all right, now I'm gonna say my piece about shit. So I don't even know what the question was.
No,
What was the
no.
question?
Just, I mean, answer. I would just say, like, is it easier to be like, tell yourself I'm not comfortable? Because I think it's hard for people to be like, I'm not.
I know I'm not comfortable because when I'm doing it, I'm sweating or I'm like nervous about the shit. So I know, but that's one thing I've learned and shit is like when you're not comfortable, you
Those are the
growing
signs.
and shit, bro. Like even when you actually growing and shit, it's pain with that shit. So like you get uncomfortable when you growing and shit. And I realized just from fucking life, working, running a business and shit, like my family, different shit. Like you might hold people to a certain standard, they might not be able to fucking achieve what you think they should be able to, but you like, damn, I understand that now and that's helping me grow, like not to do that no more type shit. But it's just, yeah, growth, bro. Like that shit. Niggas, everybody growing as a person. I can tell by the conversation y'all niggas have with people and shit. Y'all like growing too. So I mean, this is just a part of life for real.
See, you just too nice too. Like you make me feel like damn, like.
But like this, bro, when I be talking, it just be happening. Like, cause you just hit me with like 3 questions. So I'm like, nigga, I never thought of this question and shit. Yeah.
Nah,
But that's I try not to speak if I'm not knowledgeable on what I'm speaking about.
That's what.
So, yeah.
Once again, we need more games in the world. I can't stress this enough. And I think my last thing is
I won't.
we're getting towards the end, and I just like. I need to know you care. You know, you care about everybody. Gabe is always thinking about other people. But what does Gabe want? Like, what are the desires of Gabe?
What do I want, bro? I just need to. I'm trying not to be stressed about shit. I'm trying to live carefree, bro. So I gotta work till I get to that point for real, and then this caring about other people. But that's just how I'm raised. My family and shit, they gotta be comfortable. But we are like, that's one thing that's another thing that fucking all this time together has like taught. I feel like all of us for real, like, cause before COVID, like even though I might stay with my folks or whatever, like I'm not seeing them every day. Like I got my own space. I'm working. I get up, I go to sleep. They doing the same shit, but now it's like everybody in the same spot and shit. So like, whether we wanted to or not, or didn't talk about it, we all like talk every day and shit, and we on the same accord now. I feel like so. That's what I want and shit for myself to be comfortable and my family to be comfortable. And then like I'm good for it. I'm
Listen,
good.
man. You listen. They gonna try to bottle whatever energy you got and sell that shit to people because this shit is different. You way too zen, and I love it.
I feel that.
I love
I'm trying
it.
to get to that.
And my niggas like once I'm up, I want y'all niggas to be
Oh, for
up
sure,
and shit.
bro.
Like
Listen.
For sure.
that's how you make a real change and shit. If like that's one thing. I mean, I don't like to talk about rappers and shit or
Go
like
for
what
it.
they be doing, but that's one thing I commend with like a lot of these young niggas who rappers like Lil Baby and shit. Like you get on your man on his man on his man on all y'all rich
You
now and
behind
shit.
the cameras right now.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how it gotta be, bro. For especially in America, for black people to come up, we gotta have money for real for us to be able to make change and shit.
sure. It was
And
a
that
cute-
go from like me, my family to my network, like the niggas who I been building with for real.
Community of white people came over this motherfucker on the
Yeah.
Mayflower.
And did a
Yeah,
bunch of
sounds-
bullshit that benefited them, and now it's time for niggas to come
For sure.
together and do this shit, bro.
Damn, I love that shit. I love that energy. It's really good energy. Even throughout all these crazy times, the energy still stay high over here. Also, last thing, tell them the website.
Oh,
tell them
yeah.
how to personal, how they get in contact with you. Status Gang, let them hear.
Make sure y'all cover
Yeah.
sweatsuit.
Yeah, man, I got all this shit now. Niggas was like, before was asking when I was getting shit. Now I got a plethora of shit. So niggas buy the shit. What the? And thanks to everybody for supporting it thus far, cause this shit been like, this has been a good ass year. But visit the site statusappareldc.com. And that's how you can get in contact with me for real.
He like no
Support,
personal.
yeah.
Statusappareldc.com.
Yeah.
Get
And
the
then
shit.
the black market. Well, I ain't gonna say that yet, but it's
It's coming.
yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. Soon come.
Soon come. Website Status Gang Apparel
But if you want to get in
DC.com.
contact with
Status
him,
Apparel
Status
DC.
Apparel.
statusappareldc.com. Get in contact
I
with
love
him
the
if
Status
you want to
Gang,
be a
sorry.
part of the
Yeah.
virtual DC black market that he got going.
Wait for
Yeah.
that. Wait for that.
We
Yeah.
come.
He said he
When
coming.
they say, but if you
If you try
whenever
to get-
this come out
Exactly.
after, cause I mean it's a lot to try to
Yes,
get this
sir.
shit,
Yes,
but
sir.
like afterwards,
We're gonna work.
holla at me.
The man
and
is a
shit can
community
happen.
man. He's a real one. He's a real one. Hey, Gabe, thank you, man.
I appreciate
love the
y'all
banter.
niggas.
Appreciate you, bro.
I love the banter.
Yeah, nah, for sure.